Hi, everybody. Welcome to Mark's Backyard Birds, another Thursday night live edition. Welcome in, welcome in. I see people are jumping on and checking in with us. So we'll get to some of the goes here in a minute or two. But I always want to introduce ourselves. My name is Mark McKellar, and this is my wife Melanie. Is she gonna stare? Yeah, we are here in Kansas City, Missouri. We own a little store called the Backyard Bird Center and our brick and mortar store. But we have this YouTube channel going now for 3 or 4 good years now, and it is growing, and we really appreciate your support. And what we ask you is, if you would, when you jump on, if you I know it takes a while for platforms to get going, but if you would check in your name and where you're from, that always helps us to answer the questions that we're going to be helping. Because if I know where you're from, what part of the country, and it ends up being all over, we know that, but it's always great to see who's checking in. We got our real regulars. And first one we want to.
Nope, wrong one.
Oh, sorry, I'll be right there. Back. What we want to recognize is Andrew Riggs, our friend from Cincinnati, Ohio, has been a supporting member of the YouTube channel now for a year. This is 12 months, and he's been supporting us. And we wanted to do something for Andrew, and so tonight, what we're going to be doing is, as soon as Andrew lets me know his size, and you can do that privately if you don't want to know people to know your size, but we want to send you a Mark's Bird Nerds t-shirt, and I think we have them from medium to double X, so whatever works for you, and we'll ship that out to you for your thanking you for your support for the YouTube channel for the last year. So thank you so much, Andrew. You've been an ardent supporter, and we really appreciate it. So get you to. And who knows? What we might do something similar in a couple of weeks. We will see. I don't know when that next time we're on live.
Keep going up higher, I think.
No, that's
the first one.
That's the first one. All right. Hi, Jim E. from Tennessee. Yes, and I'm still trying to plan when I'm going to be heading out your way. Now, again, I don't know if I'm going to be coming through Tennessee or if I'm going to be doing the Kentucky, West Virginia route down into North Carolina. But I've got to get the vehicle out there, and I'm thinking.
I said late September.
Yeah, maybe. Now I'm thinking more toward the last third week of September, somewhere in there, later in September. There you are. There's Andrew. Hi, Steve. The same goes for you. If we can do the Tennessee route, I'd love to stop and meet you and maybe grab a bite or something. All right. East Tennessee, 48 degrees here yesterday. Yes, it is feeling very much like fall in the mornings. We're going to be back up, I think, 85 tomorrow, but we've been topping out around 80 the last few days. It's been wonderful. Low in the morning. Love whenever the fall kind of breaks for us. All right. Hello, Carrie from down the street. There she is. All right. Hello, Jen G from Southern Maine. Hello, Kurt, again, right down the street. Oh, so okay. Yeah, he's he must be watching on his phone. Exactly, that work. Hello, Denise from Washington State. Welcome in. The West Coast checking in there. All right. Anyone in the Murfreesboro area, Tennessee, on Saturday, there will be a hummingbird festival. That's great. Yeah, 10 to 3. Man, are the hummingbirds going crazy or what right now? It is, and I bring this up to, it's always in the spring. Everybody is like, I don't have as many hummingbirds as I did last year. Where are all the hummingbirds that did something? Did they have some disaster in South America and they killed? They're not seeing. And then this time of year, everybody just forgets that because all the babies are out and the migrants are coming through and there's dog fights in your yard and and aerial fights. And I haven't heard anybody say they don't have any hummingbirds right now. I mean, my feeders are going crazy and I know I've seen video from some of you guys. It's pretty impressive. Hello, the other Jim. This is a Jim K from Minneapolis. Welcome in. You're definitely a regular. Hello, Rick from North Carolina. The weather, sitting on the porch, goldfinches eating Yeah, you sent me a picture today of one adult male goldfinch and I think 3 or 4 juveniles on that your finch feeder. Yeah, hummingbird. Yeah, the hummingbird wars are crazy, and it's happening right on time. I always say the last week of August for a whole lot of us is about peak in the numbers. The adult males may be still hanging around, but they're going to be heading out real soon. And I don't know. I don't know if she's not. She actually they showed her face on camera.
That's
Right.
right.
Very good. Exactly. All right. We'll jump one back. Yeah, the hummingbird numbers are amazing, and that's from a lot of people have been emailing me and what their hummingbirds are like, and it's all the way, mainly to the East Coast and through the center part of the country. And I know you guys south, you haven't seen the migrants just yet. Maybe a few filtering in for you, but your numbers are going to be queuing really high pretty soon. So it's an exciting time of year. Greenwood, Indiana, Kathy. Absolutely. Another real regular. Hey, Lisa. How are things up in your neck of the woods? There's one of our northern people for sure. Hello, Sandy from Kankakee with 4 battling ruby hummingbirds. Yeah, this time of year, you're really worried they're going to run right into you, the way they're just zipping all around. Hello, Mary Lou. I'm assuming that's Cape May, New Jersey, one of the better bird watching spots. I may even mention that a little bit later. Hey, Paige from Tennessee. Absolutely. Boston guy, real regular from up there in Massachusetts. Hello, Brian. Welcome in from Leavenworth, just up the road. An extra large. All right, we got you down. We got it. We will get that shipped out to you hopefully tomorrow. And from Carol and Jay, just up the road in Platte County, just north of some of my real regular bird watchers. I'll be waiting and still vertical, I hope. Hopefully so. But I would love to be able to make that trip down through that. I love to go. It depends on if I'm going to fly back. If I drive it both ways, I tend to drive like the southern route or at first and then come back the northern route. I like to split it up. So maybe I can do both, which would be great. Desktop busy around. I bet it does slow down for you. Hi from Southern Iowa. Hi, Nancy. Welcome in. And thinning out. Yep, you guys up north, they're already starting to thin out. Anytime the wind blows out of the north at night, you're losing some of your hummingbirds, I'm sure. Yeah, and we're in the middle of that. We're losing some and gaining some whenever we get those northern winds. All right. We close? Oop.
Yeah, I think
Melanie's taking over driving the mouse.
Oh, look.
Hello, Bill Trelk. That was not planned tonight, I can tell you. What are they doing playing football on a Thursday night? College football Saturday, right? Anna D. Yeah, it's been a while. Yes, from North Carolina. We were talking about your bluebird house a month or two ago. Had real treat this morning. Big heron on the pond in front of. They are so majestic. Love seeing them. You're getting them down there in Texas. You're starting to see some. That's good. Yeah, I'm sure you're getting some Missouri birds down, especially the males. Hello, John P. from Ocala. All right, we're about ready to get started here. I try to go right about the 10-minute mark is when the hummingbirds are coming up to me, flying around me. Yes. Yeah, and they are. They will, especially if you wear red or aren't any brightly colored, colors, they're going to come to you and check you out. M-I-Z. Little Hawk was back again today. Yeah, they've got to eat too, that's for sure. Hello, Joyce from Springfield, Missouri, down south here. What is the ratio or formula for determining when it's cheaper to buy old black oil sunflower instead of full? Okay, by weight, Bill, a bag of sunflower seed is 30% waste is what we're trained by the industry as to. That's about what you're going to lose in waste in a bag of birdseed. So it's that, and then you do the math as far as hearts go and whole seeds with holes. So use that 30% a waste factor to help you even out the price a little bit. It's going to always be more expensive for the holeless just because you got to pay somebody to do that. I put a feeder out with a Niger seed about a month ago and didn't see a goldfish until this week. No, Jim, they've been nesting. Basically, you lose goldfinches, heavily. Not all of them. So males will still come, but heavily goldfinches from mid-July through a lot of August till the end of August. They're in their nesting, and so the females you don't see, and then the babies occur, and then you see this influx now. The goldfinches are coming in now, and whereas pretty much August is a dead month for goldfinches, and now they're going to train the young where to eat, and then they're going to disappear again because of the natural seed coming in. Hello, Teresa. Ready for the bird hikes to start? Not next week, right? The week after that, the first Thursday in
I think it'll be like the 4th.
I think it's the 4th. Yep, Thursday.
They're on the calendar. I got
yeah.
them.
By the way, yes, they are on the online calendar. So if you go marksbackyardbirds.com or backyardbirdcenter.com and hit the calendar tab, all the bird hikes for the fall are up there now.
And sign up so that you know how many.
Yeah, the sign up's on there, and don't forget your phone number. So if something were to happen, I can get hold of you. We had to make a change. Goldfish are taking over my back here. Yep, Knoxville and Hummers are. It's a beautiful time. I'm telling you. 46, nice. I'm looking forward to making suet again. There you go. All right, here we go. Let's start with the program tonight.
Take that one.
The idea for tonight's program is the pretense that if you're a bird watcher, a backyard bird feeder to go on hikes or pursue, if you're a serious lister, tonight's program is kind of the basics of how to add more birds to your life list. And so I'm going to talk about the way you attract more to your backyards. I'm going to talk about ways to find local groups around you that you can join up with and go on hikes with them. And I'm going to talk about how to, if you're going to go on vacation and you're going to be in a certain area of the country, like Mary, it's going to be up in Minnesota this weekend. So if you're going to do that, I'm going to give you some tips on how to find birding places around the area you're going to be, and some resources for you to use to, make a target list and then try to get out while you're there. Hopefully, like I said, one of my major goals whenever we bought the store and started this, and same as when I ran nature centers, is to get people out and get them exploring and looking for birds just beyond the backyard, as we called it. So I hope this works out. I hope you guys like it. We're going to try something totally new today. I'm going to try to walk you through how to find locations on eBird. I am not an eBird expert, but I know enough of it that when I'm planning trips and things like that. So we'll get to that as well. So right now, I'm going to, first off, I can't emphasize this enough. If you want to learn birds, if you want to see more birds, I find it, you hear me say this a lot. One of the worst things that you can do when you're trying to identify a new bird is when you see a bird and you look at it, and then right away you go to now it's the apps or the field guides, and you start looking through trying to find a bird that looks like that. Not the way to do it. If you're wanting to learn birds and you're wanting to identify birds, the first thing you should do is have something, I'm going to get back to this right here, that you can take notes with. This was a journal, Bill, back from your days. This was when I first moved to Missouri, and this is a bird journal I kept. And I wrote down, I took notes every day, when I was in the bird watching, and I'd list new birds I saw that day and things like that. But I also used it to sketch, and make field notes. And I said that was a major part whenever we took ornithology in college, is don't be influenced by the books or pictures. because your mind will start seeing what's on that page in the book rather than the bird that you saw whenever you saw it in the field. So the first thing you should do, if it's a bird you don't recognize at all, of course you got a camera, that's great, take a picture for sure. But in your mind's eye, you need to remember the key field marks. And whenever get this back up here, when you're looking at birds, you're looking for things that are unique about a bird. The last thing, I've always told this, the last thing you should use is color, because color varies from young birds to adult birds to eastern birds to western birds, northern birds, southern birds. There'll be variation in colors on birds and molting effects, everything like that. So what you want to make notes of, and if you can sketch, and believe me, my sketches in this book, this little book right here, they're awful. I am not an artist by any stretch of the imagination, but I can draw the shape of a bird, and then I could use the unique field marks. Well, the Carolina wren, the one on the bottom left, it's got his tail sticks up. I would obviously note that in my notes because that's unique. Not all birds do that. So when you look at a bird, look at the things that don't change. Look at the bill, the shape of the bill, the size of the bill, the color of the bill. Those things, color can change, yes, but for the most part, they're pretty consistent with a bird. And you look at these birds, and you think, what's unique about the ones that you're looking at? Well, of course, the pileated has that crest, the pileum it's called. So it's obviously I would denote that crest, and then the eye stripe and the malar stripe. Those are unique. They stand out. And then this one actually has a red malar there. So we know that means male, but that would be something to denote. Then you can start talking about color. Like I said, color is one of the last things you refer to, but you can make note that it's a black bird with white patches in its wings and things like that. The tree sparrow up top has white wing bars. Be a great thing to note in your notes when you're talking about the bird you're trying to identify. And this one has a bicolored bill. The top bill is black. The bottom bill is yellow. That's pretty unique. You can make note of that, because when you go back, like I said, if you let that field guide influence you, when you're looking it up, and they'll say, "Oh, did it have wing bars?" Yeah, I think it did. If you made those notes, you don't have to worry about that. So, and you need to do that, like the color of the legs. The more you do it, the more, of course, you get better at it. But it's something to practice on the birds in your yard. When you're sitting there and you're looking at a bird under your feet, or you may know it, of course, but you can practice a sketch and make the notes that you feel like. That way, when you see something new, then you've got a good idea of what notes you need to take. And then you can start going to your resources like the apps and field guides. And remember, the first thing you should note is the size. Size is one challenging thing. If you see a bird by itself, nothing else around, but for the most part, when we see birds, usually there's something that we recognize that we can compare it to, about the size of a sparrow, robin sized, crow sized, blue jay, think birds that smaller than a blue jay or larger than a cardinal, things like that. That's important to put on your notes too. So your ability to look and recognize something different. Oh, I've never seen that before. Then take notes real quick before you look it up. Or like I said, if you got a picture, great. That helps all the more. You don't have to write as much down. And of course, and I know a lot of you, one of the first things you do is you send me the picture. And I play name that bird every morning when I get into the store. So I'm going to open up pictures of that people have sent me. And some of them can be tricky. They really can. But pictures help tremendously. Even a bad picture with a cell phone can be, like I said, we can blow it up enough to get the field marks a lot of times that we need to positively identify them. So that's one way to add birds to your list. And this part, reason I started with this, because this is going to apply to everything else I talk about tonight. The other methods to try to see more birds. So Now, if you're in your backyard, I get this question quite a bit. How do I attract rare birds to my yard? Well, you really can't just, you have to make your yard appealing to all birds, as many birds as you can. And if there's a rare bird in the area and they see these other birds eating, a lot of times they'll come and investigate. And that way, and then like I said, it jumps out at you. Boy, I've never seen that bird before. And then you start the process of the notes and looking it up and grab your cell phone and take a quick picture and all that. Well, how do you make your backyard more attractive to all birds? Well, I've got plenty of videos out there about, bird feeding and, a diverse offering of seed and a diverse offering of feeder types is really important. We've got the open tray feeder, which doesn't exclude anybody and allows a lot of different birds, and that's inviting for a bird, especially that's more weary. If it's new to the area, doesn't know where it is, but he sees that, it's able to join in with those other birds. An open tray is a great option for them, but for birds like finches, so if you're hoping for a common redpoll this winter among your goldfinches and things, tube feeders are really important for them. That's the type seed they're looking for, and that's the type of feeding they're used to. That clinging onto a perch or a stem in the wild, things like that. And then peanut feeders. Don't forget peanut feeders are great for attracting pretty much all woodpeckers and all the tree clingers. So in a winter that we had in our area, now you guys may have them regularly, but the peanut feeders, not only do they attract the hairies and the downies and the red-bellieds, but in winter we can get yellow-bellied sapsuckers on them. In the years that went, red-breasted nuthatches are plentiful down here. Peanut butter feeders are a great way to document those in your yard. So different kinds of seed and different kind of feeders are going to bring in different kinds of birds. Then don't forget, because a lot of the rarer birds that may turn up in your yard, they are going to be not traditional seed eaters. So mealworms, like this house wren's eating at the top, lots of birds eat mealworms. Believe me, that's how you're going to get the bluebirds. But other insect-eating birds that may be here in the winter, maybe they should have been 1,000 miles south of us, but they're still here in winter. A source of mealworms in winter or in fall and winter will quite often attract them, so they can find that. So mealworms are definitely an option you want to feed if you're hoping to get something different in your yard. And suet, very much the same as the peanuts. The suet log on the right will attract different birds. And I mean, peanut butter and cornmeal or suet cakes, whatever you want to put in it, that can be good for non-traditional seed-eating birds. It's highly nutritious, and peanut butter is a highly valuable food for them. And then the bottom left is a bowl of fruit that these waxwings are eating on. One of the coolest birds we've ever had here in the Kansas City region during the winter was at a friend's house who left out a bowl of fruit, and it rained, and it kind of filled with water. And in January, this Cape May warbler, which should have been in the Caribbean, was eating and drinking the fruit water out of that bowl. It had a bunch of grapes and cherries and things like that she in the refrigerator, and she set it out there. And so, yeah, I mean, non-traditional seed is a way you can expand the appeal of your yard and help you get birds that you may not normally get. So, and of course, me, it's water, unfrozen water. Water. Oh yes, that Captain Water. Unfrozen water in winter, moving water in spring and summer is a magnet. Migrating birds passing through. I've talked about how the bubblers and the misters and things like that make sound, waterfalls. Migrating birds don't know where they're at, but they have to have water. They have to have insects. So water is crucial, and it will greatly increase being able to see warblers and things like that in migration, adding to your yard list and your life list.
Okay, we got a question.
Yep.
Go back here.
Is that just a log? Yeah, I have a whole video on that. I mean, it's this is a a customer, a friend of mine who makes these for us. This is a piece of, I think, Western red cedars, what he usually uses. He collects when he's out in this place in Montana, and he cuts it up into links and then drills holes. Some are all the way through, some are just shallower, and then we can smear the bark butter or the tree icing or peanut butter and cornmeal. I have a couple of videos about making a peanut butter mixture and using a suet log like that. I think Melanie might be trying to put a link up for that.
Yes, I'm putting the link up so she can see what they look like.
Absolutely. All right.
I just, so you can go back to water.
Water. Yeah, water is definitely critical. Absolutely.
Okay. And then you're going to plants.
And then again, which we do plenty of programs on, and we were on Mary was on a couple of weeks ago. The native plants. There we go. Great transition, Kurt. Yep. And you can hide that so you can see. Yeah, you go. There's the picture. We have native plants. We talk about it all the time. The ones that produce berries and fruit, which are really important, especially in fall migration for a lot of birds. But of course, the insects that lay their eggs and hatch and grow in native plants. Oak trees are spectacular for it, and others. But they have to have insects. And many of these birds, the reason they're migrating south is because they are primarily insect eaters, and we're going to go through that long period where we don't have insects here. And so they're headed down to Central America, South America, where they have insects all winter long. The cedar waxwings down there, that's as a spring picture, but they eat the petals off of this tulip poplar tree, which is really cool. And of course, cover. If you want more birds in your yard, they have to feel safe. So a wide open yard really, really helps by having cover, like this brush pile of yours, Sandy, on there. Yep, that's your brush pile. All right. So making your yard more appealing to birds. We're going to go to part 2 of the program, and that is stepping out beyond your yard, going out and actively seeking birds in your community at first. So we're going to start that way. Do we need to catch up on some?
Oh, we've got bunches of comments.
Bunch of.
Back up. Keep going.
Yep.
Keep going. Okay, hold on. Right in there.
Yeah, I saw that one. There's Teresa. Yeah. Ocala, Florida.
Yeah, Dana.
Hi, Dana from Arkansas. She stopped into the store last weekend was that, and said hi on her way up to Omaha to see you. Durham, North Carolina, welcome in at our old stomping grounds. Hi, Ariana from Arizona. Hey, neighbor. Yeah. There's North Carolina people.
Tennessee.
Barbara McCall, another Tennessee person. Welcome in. Will you sign my shirt? If you want me to, Andrew, I will. Yeah, you want me to do across the back or on the front? You tell me where you want it, and I'll sign it. All right, Boston.
So earlier, there was a tree sparrow.
That was an American tree sparrow in the upper left. Yeah, you couldn't see that dot on the chest, but good call, Boston guy.
Okay, that's the link to the Facebook group. So anybody new wants to join the Facebook group, yeah, share pictures, share.
Many of you, these folks that are on here tonight, are members of the Facebook group, and it's a really fun way.
Group.
It is a free group. You just share pictures and stories, and it's wonderful. Hi, Jan from Belton, just down south a little bit.
Now, this is supposed to say eBird reviewers.
Two eBird reviewers keep telling me that birds I've identified with multiple field marks are disallowed based on color, and they don't. Not all eBird viewers are created equal. I'm sorry about that. They don't get the color right. And so much of eBird. I'm not going to be, and while I think it's great that people use eBird, and I know all our bird hikes that we go on, somebody submits our checklist and all that, and that's crucially important. I'm going to praise it more, but I know a lot of, especially backyard bird people or a fairly new bird, if you can't get a photograph, then it's really hard. And a lot of eBird is so about the date range. And that if you report a date okay, well, let's say you say I had a junco in my yard today, and the eBirds are going to say that is out of the state range. That's not accepted. So, there's a lot of that goes on with eBird. So we're going to talk about that here a lot here in just a little bit.
That was just his.
All right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
This was
Gila woodpeckers. Yes, they love the suet. And then, yeah, millers. Oh, yeah. Yeah, suet's really important just about anywhere you live and feed. Really remind them. Oh, yes. Thank you, Steve. Yes, if you would, please hit that. And believe me, guys, that really does help. It helps them. YouTube want to promote my channel. It says, hey, you guys really like it. And like when you watch my videos, believe it or not, if you, when you like I put out a new video and you watch it, if you would watch it to the very end, that's really important to YouTube, because they think, well, this person is putting out content that keeps people interested. Quality content instead of, somebody watched it for 2 minutes and clicked it off. And that goes against me, that kind of thing. So yes, liking it, leaving a comment helps. All that lets YouTube know this is good content and people want to watch it. So thank you, Steve, for that reminder. Hello, Ellie Harper from North Texas. You're up there in the Bill Trelk region.
I think that's Eli.
Eli, I'm sorry. I'm used to Ellie, who's on here all the time. Yeah, Eli, sorry. It's just a log and we just answered that. Yep. 3 bird bass. He's absolutely. Well, if you know me, I'm Captain Water. I always promote water. You absolutely, especially up in your part of the world, Jen. I imagine unfrozen water can be a real premium for birds up there in winter. Sorry, how fresh does the fruit have to be? Always fresh or no? It can be days on. Birds eat fruit on the trees and vines and things like that are way past ripe. They can get nutrition from it. No, you can definitely let it go for several days when it's out there.
Yeah. That's a link to the log.
Oh, that's the suet log link. Is that the feeder or the video?
The log, the feeder
the
itself.
Log itself, feeders out.
I can't find a log.
We made a few of the log suet feeders with cut logs from our trees. Absolutely. It's easy to do. I mean, if you get all handy, you can cut them in links and drill holes into them that you can stuff. Some people, spread the tree icing just on the bark of the tree and the crevices, and that works as well too. Yep, absolutely, Andrew. I love them. That's my favorite suet feeder. If you ever watch that video, absolutely glad to help. Waxwings and my son's mulberry tree, right out of the dining room window. Mulberries are a real favorite of waxwings, I can tell you. All right, try to nail this dude. That is interesting, Jim. Where's that? Have you tried adding a few drops of olive oil into them in a bowl and just put a few drops and mix it up really well? In the summer heat, that's going to be tough. I mean, because they really do bake in the summer heat. But I tell you, fall and maybe outside of winter may be more effective. But boy, my bluebirds love it. Okay, I'll do it. We'll see where it looks. You guys, North Carolina, Raleigh, and Durham, all my old stomping grounds. Absolutely. Hi, Frontier. Welcome in from SoCal. I like your comment that you're a serious lister. I saw that on the one post. Yes, that's an. I mean, there are islands in the city that can be real, great for birds, like a big city park or even a fairly small park. Habitat's everything around it, and when it's really spread out and sparse, you're just not going to get the number of birds you're going to get in good quality habitat, which is usually outside the city. You sure were the first time I witnessed a sparrow drinking from a hummingbird feeder. Yeah. I tell you what, a lot of birds get a taste of that sugar water.
Maybe a finch.
It's usually a house finch, Anna. Yeah, they have a real famous sweet tooth. You should just having water in wintertime. Oh, absolutely a heated bird bath or a bird bath with a de-icer in it. Or they have thermostats that go on and off when it reaches the 35 degrees, so they don't cost you. And really, the electricity pull is about like a light bulb, so it's not.
She's a new KCMO birder here.
Well, welcome in. Absolutely.
Come see us at the store.
Yeah, if you've been by the store, we can talk bird bass with you and show my favorite and the ones that do sell well and get great reviews. White crown sparrows, they love driving. Interesting. 8 months out of the year, go up they're a little further north. You would have them up there. Build a chickadee.
Chicken coop.
Yeah, right. And chicken house. I love the guy said the other day that I asked about the black beetles that they sell, which I don't think would be great for wild bird feeding, but the lady who was trying to sell them to me said farmers love to put them in the bedding material of a chicken house because those chickens go crazy picking through that the bedding material and getting those beetles out of there and eating them, and it helps them to fluff up their nest. I don't know. You'd know, Rick, because you're definitely the chicken person. Applaud you both for keeping me up with the Thank you. It's fast and furious. All right. Yeah. Let's see. We got I'm planting some viburnum for the birds. A great plant, great choice. Many different kinds out there, depending on where you're at. Hello, Justin. Thank you.
And tell us what the Gen Zs want to hear.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully that means hopefully I'm appealing to all ages. I hope to. Yeah, I love it. That young man who just came to work for us, he's really getting into it. I love it when young people get into birding. It is the future. All right, dried mealworms don't work for me. That is incredible. Yeah, I don't know. I eat them when I mix them in with my bird seed. They eat them when they're in a bowl, but not as much during summer. I'll give you that. In winter, they just get eaten like crazy. I mean, like I said, especially if you can keep the starlings out of it. But I guess it doesn't work for everybody. I know one guy in Florida was saying it didn't work for him. So
explain the olive oil thing again.
Okay. Dried mealworms are not alive, obviously, and they don't crawl around in the bowl. So live mealworms are far more appealing to wild birds because they can see them moving and know the brain says food and they go down and grab it. Well, dried mealworms just sitting in a bowl to them doesn't mean food, not at first. So one of the ways that the growers will tell you to help trick the birds into thinking they're moving is adding the drop or two of olive oil on them and stir them up. And when the sun and the clouds pass by and the light dappling on them, it really does look like they're moving, a little bit, just that glistening and all. And once they get used to them, then they'll continue to eat them. I know you guys are from all over the country, and maybe it doesn't work everywhere, but I can tell you that it works in a lot of places. I think a lot of people will, talk about how I always, especially for people come in, especially with bluebirds, and ask me about getting started with mealworms. I always encourage them to start with a tub or two of live mealworms and to get them used to coming, and then switch them over to the dried because they'll recognize them. But boy, with those ones crawling around, they're the ones that are going to snap up first. And with some dried ones in there, they'll eat them. They'll recognize them. You can also rehydrate the dried mealworms, which is you put them in a shallow bowl, dry a bunch of them, and fill them really darn hot water in there, and they'll plump up. Now, you're not returning any nutritional value to them, but you are making them juicier and softer, which also can help. And anything to get them used to them will help. Hope it works. City parks are definitely a good place. I mean, that's a good transition. I'm going to start here. All right. The next part of the program is to getting out pasture out of your yard and into nature. And city parks, a great point. There's lots of different avenues for you to pursue birds. There are you got city parks in the area. You probably have a nature center or two in your area that does bird hikes and does bird programs. You may live close enough to a wildlife refuge from your local conservation department or a national wildlife refuge that's worth going to. Habitat is everything. You'll find more birds in good habitat because there's just so much more food for them available and places to nest for them. And so a lot of what it's going to depend on heavily is, of course, I've talked about this a lot, is the time of year, the time of day and the time of year. Mornings are almost always better for bird watching and finding birds. They're more active, they're moving more, they're vocalizing a lot more, especially in the spring. But at certain times of the year, like in dead of winter, they're not singing very much and they're not moving as much. So winter birding's a little more specialized. So if you're just getting into it, spring, summer, fall, we're getting ready to start our fall bird hikes. And we have several different places we can go in the Kansas City region, but I select the places that I've had success with finding birds in fall migration. And those are the ones. Now we rotate around and some places drop off the list and we try to add new places, things like that. But when you're talking about how do I find these places? Well, this is the first place where Melanie and I are going to try something completely new. So bear with us for just a second. I am going to do the plus sign, share screen.
Yep, go ahead.
There.
And you're going to pick which one.
All right. Hopefully everybody can see that. This is eBird. eBird has been a...
Hold on. It's not showing yet.
Is it not showing?
It's showing the pictures on my screen, so it's not showing the eBird.
All right. You guys comment and let me know if you're seeing the eBird screen there in front of you. Can you hear me?
I don't know. That's what I'm wondering.
All right. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to get back out of this real quick.
Stop share.
Stop share.
So we got to figure that out.
Okay. So did the screen change? Could you see anything?
Can't see it. No.
Not yet. No.
Could you hear Mark talking?
Yes. Could you hear me talking?
Not seeing bird screen. Could you hear Mark talking?
Yeah.
Okay. So what happened? Oh, did we choose the view?
I don't know.
Try that.
We're going to try one more thing.
And then now try share. Right there.
All right. We're going to try something different. Nope.
I don't think it's working. We could hear you. They said they could hear you.
Oh, you can hear me talking.
Can't see it. Okay. Well, you know what?
Wait a minute. Hold on. Can you see that now?
Oh yeah, maybe that's it.
Maybe this is how we have to do it.
There we go.
Yay!
I think that's it.
This is working?
Okay, guys. So do you see the eBird and then Mark's down in the bottom left-hand corner?
Yep, got it. There you go. All right.
Oh, thank you for the patience.
We knew this was going to be a challenge. We'd never tried this before, so okay. This is an introduction to eBird. For those of you have tried it and gotten frustrated, like if you're wanting to submit reports, that's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother program. This is all about exploring and finding places to go bird watching, because the great thing about eBird is people are submitting their sightings every day, and and from almost any location you can think of. And so if you live in a certain area or you're going to travel to a certain area, you can explore that area and look at checklists and especially bar graphs of what birds should be there at certain times of the year. So you're not looking at it and going, oh, I want to see a Lazon's albatross in Kansas City in June. So, the information there is invaluable. So I was going to, in this, you can explore by species. So if you want to look up a specific species, but I'm going to, I got to go here to do this. Let me see.
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Okay.
I entered Missouri. And so it brought up and all the checklist and the submitting the targets that have been seen this month, and it is invaluable. So different things you can do is you can look for checklists. But one thing I wanted to start with, because it is so valuable, is all right, here we go. The bar charts. These are so valuable. I use this all the time. When I'm going when I went to Cozumel, when I went on the cruise and I was on Aruba and places like that, I can pull up the bar graphs for Aruba. And if you can see, I don't know how big your screen is, but all across there, January, February, March, April, every month of the year. And as you go down, you can see that the thicker the green is, then the more common that bird is in those months of the year. And this goes, I'm going to scroll down. You can see, like Canada goose in Missouri is very, very common all across, all the way down. And then the smaller the bars and the dots, the rarer it is.
Okay, you don't have to keep going back because it's scrolling now.
Okay.
Go back to that other screen.
Okay. Well, I just want to show you, I wanted to get to a screen where you can see smaller dots. So you can see how they're thick and like a lot of birds in April and May. That's spring migration, so they're more likely to be seen here. So if if you live in any state, you can pull this up for your state. Plus, you can also pull up more detailed than this. Let's see. Let's go to Explore Hotspots. All right. On the hotspot map, let's make sure that's showing.
Give it to a second.
I had to give it a couple seconds. Okay, so
yeah, map's showing.
That's how many reporting hotspots there are in the world, folks. Every dot, yellow, orange, red, are places where people have submitted bird lists from. So watch what I'm going to do here. I'm going to zoom in and go all the way down. Hold on. There's Kansas City. So I'm trying to stay zeroed in on Kansas City. Wherever you live, you can do this for.
And you can go up there and enter right here, like Kansas City, Parkville.
Nope, you can't.
That work?
Well, you might be able to.
Sandy says she enters Kankakee, Illinois.
That's right. You can do that on this screen. You couldn't do it on the Explorer screen. That's right, Sandy. So I'm down. Here's Kansas City, and look at all those dots. These dots are where people have submitted checklists for their region, their area. One of our favorite places to bird watch is Smithville Lake, right up here. You've heard me. I'm pretty sure you've seen me tell you. Look at the dots around it. Now, there's usually the dark red dot is the hot spot for that lake. That's where most people submit their sightings. Some people get really, like I saw it in this cove, and they want to submit checklists for different things like that. But if you just go to the hot spot, and you get to see a whole lot, and then you can just pull up the bar chart just for Smithville Lake, and that is really, really good.
Bill Trout is asking, can you print a checklist for a particular hotspot?
Sandy, I don't know.
No, this is Bill Trout.
Oh, well, Bill. I'm asking Sandy. She might know. I don't know how to do that. It may be. Like I said, I am still. Remember, I still use books and stuff. So, but there's tremendous amount of information here for you to look at. And again, see how the bar charts are different than they were for the whole state of Missouri, because things certainly could concentrate. And it is so fun to look at the bar. So, and if you're going to go out, well, what is it? 1st of September? You just go down the September column, and you can see what you're not likely to see, and then you're going to see the ones that you are likely to see. So there's early September. That is a mourning dove. There's no surprise there. So it is great information. And what I do on this, when I'm going to Aruba, I pull up this list like that, and I know I'm going to be there in whatever month it is, April. And then I just go down the list, and any of those birds on there that are a life bird for me, I list it. And those become my target birds that I really want to find there. All these other birds are great that I'll see while I'm there, but I make up a target list for bird watching. So that's a lot how I do it. So,
can
any question?
Yeah. Can you go back and take them back to the beginning because somebody missed where you started?
Okay, let's go. We'll go back. Yep.
To like the very.
Okay, the very beginning is this screen right here,
and it's eBird.
eBird.org, and it is a grant. Like I said, the Cornell Lab of Ornithology, and all of this data that gets submitted tirelessly by people. It is amazing. And if you join eBird, and it's free, you join eBird and you set up an account, and every time you're out bird watching, you use their checklist and enter the birds you've seen. Like I said, we do this on all our bird hikes, and we send it in, and it'll ask you things like how many people were birding, how many did you time, how much did you walk, how much did you drive, things like that, so they can properly analyze the data. And yes, sometimes if you thought you saw a bird and you put it on your checklist, or if you on your checklist you click the wrong bird. So like Paraluxia, which is only in the desert Southwest, is right below cardinal. And if you accidentally tapped on it or something, then they'll send you a note saying, this is out of range. This shouldn't be there. Things like that. That can happen if you're submitting data, but to explore your data is a great way to keep up with your life list. Like I don't keep my life list on eBird, but so far, just from the checklist I have submitted, I've seen 298 of my almost 700 birds on my life list. So there's a whole lot of checklists I haven't submitted, and most of those are very old checklists from when I started. So I haven't. Ruth painstakingly went back and entered all of her old lists to get it current in eBird, which is amazing. I admire her for doing that. But what I'm trying to get you to do is look and learn how to explore where what you're going to be looking for and when. Those are really important things. And back of that Kansas City map, there's dots on there for the little Parkville Nature Sanctuaries right down the road, and that's true of wherever you are. If you want to go to you have a little nature center that's just out, 10 miles east of you. I bet you that dot is on that map, and you click on that, and you can see, and you can pull up the bar chart for what's supposed to be there. Now, again, Bill, hopefully they may have a way to print checklists. That would be great.
Posted a link for anybody who's trying to get to the eBird page. I posted that and pinned it to the top.
All right. I feel like
we've got a lot of comments to catch up on.
I gotta go back.
So, so you may not get to all of them because you got to go past
whenever they found me.
Yeah. So this is when they couldn't hear you, and there might have been a few before that, but you can just start.
Okay, I think we're gonna have to start here because we got so many now.
Yeah, just keep going.
All right.
So anyway, got frustrated.
Frustrated.
Here's a good question. Is it good to check eBird every day?
It depends on how avid you are about it. Typically eBird's not going to change a lot from day to day, week to week or whatever. But just make sure you're going to do that before you go bird. If you're planning to go bird watching somewhere, that's the best time to check it and kind of be prepared for what people are seeing and have been seeing in your area. Absolutely, thank you. Yeah,
and that's where she was for a certain area. So check it before you go out.
Yep. You can also put your local then a state. Yeah, Sandy, you can't put that in on this screen, the explore regions. It only does the big regions like the state of Missouri. But when you get to it within there, you can narrow the search down like we did there. Yeah, I think you can just enter your zip code. Hotspots are the best. Absolutely.
I think we've answered his question.
Oh, yeah. There are a lot of, I have definitely seen osprey at Smithville, especially in fall migration. You'll see the eagles chasing them around, stealing their food from them, but also in spring migration. They're out there for a while, especially in the fall. I'm going to have a rewind just yep. Good thing it's on the rewind. I've never. Yeah. Yeah, the checklists are on the phones. Yep, you've got the app on your phone. You can have and that way you can just scroll and click the birds.
Interesting. She says you can connect your eBird to your Merlin.
That's interesting. Yeah, the Merlin. I know that I use Birder's Diary for my record keeping, and I know that it can connect to eBird as well to upload checklists.
Oh, they were talking about cicadas earlier.
Oh, you're talking about cicadas. Yeah, they're a boy. Thank you, Andrew. That's my goal here. Like I said, I know that backyard bird feeding topics are the most popular, but I'm hoping you guys are enjoying this one's a little bit different.
That's in response to cicadas.
Okay.
Because they're both in North Carolina. Kansas City.
All right. First thing I'm going to go back here to this screen because I'm going to give you a little bit of history of this, how this works. This is the original eBird, folks. Back in 1988, when Melanie and my friend John Hammond and I went to South Florida to visit a friend and to go bird watching. It was first really kind of outside of North Carolina. It was the first real birding adventure we did. These guides, these little books were available back then. They called them the Lane guides because he started this whole thing. And where this took a giant jump for bird watching is, if somebody called you and said, oh, there's a really good place to go bird watching down there right outside of Miami, yada, 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 where this book had tons of locations. And it would say, pass this mall, go down another mile, turn right, then turn left into this parking lot, and you will find a whatever. and my God, it worked. And these were kind of the initial bar charts, just like you saw on.
And if they want to go see what they look like.
Yeah. Unfortunately, now these lane guides are out of print now. So, like, this was the original one for South Florida. This is what it evolved into a few years later. You can likely find some of these on Amazon, and some of them are expensive, but some people, sometimes. That's
Florida.
Yeah, this is Florida. And what did I say?
No, go ahead. I just want to say something when you're done.
Oh, yeah, Florida. And so almost any region, the big bird watching locations in the country had them. Colorado, Southern California, the coastal Texas, the Rio Grande Valley of Texas, all those birding hot spots that have been around forever. Elaine did a guide. And then people took up the mantra after he passed away. And the American Birding Association, ABA, which is a group, if you're getting into bird watching, you need to be a member of. They have great like rare bird alerts that a lot of that you're not privy to, because believe me, some serious bird watchers don't like reporting their rare birds because they don't want a whole influx of people to come in and ruin the area and stomp and play tapes and all that stuff that I hate. And they drive the bird crazy, run them off, and then nobody else can see it, all that. So, but these original books were the foundation of people, that are less experienced, especially being able to go out there and find. And a lot of what I was.
Before you go, you want to tell them the story about me when we were in Florida bird watching? Well, I sat in the back seat.
She did. This is Melanie's first birding adventure with us. John, we
went all over Florida.
We went everywhere. We drove, my buddy lived in West Palm Beach. We drove down, stopped at Cape Canaveral, went to West Palm Beach, and then we drove across. We bird watched at Loxahatchee National Wildlife Refuge without her. But then we did a road trip, and she, sitting in the back seat, cross-stitching her Christmas ornaments in the back seat while John and I were, ferociously birding. And we drove across north of Lake Okeechobee over to, we went to Six Flags, right, of Tampa Bay. And then we drove down the coast, the Gulf Coast, and across the Tamiami Trail, went all the way down to the Florida Keys. And so we did a birding road trip. And I
sat in the back seat.
She sat in the back seat.
But you would come get me when you saw a good bird.
I did. I would get her. We were at one point, we saw these two crested caracaras sitting out on fence posts across this field from us, and we pulled off. And I said, honey, put the cross stitch down. Come out. You're going to want to see this. And so she got out of the car. And so she got to see the crested caracaris. And then, so, but she did get more serious there for a while and went on bird watching trips with us. So.
And then we had kids and I went on sabbatical.
That's true. Yeah. Well, especially when the second child was born, Mr. Matthew. Yeah. That's when she quit really going on the birding adventures because too much.
Okay.
So.
Sorry.
All right. So.
I just thought they might like a story.
They would. Okay. Another this. I think I'm pretty sure about this. This was the original laying guide, the one to Southeast Arizona, because it is unequivocally the best place in North America to go bird watching. If you're getting into bird watching, my first trip to Southeast Arizona was in winter, and I added 63 live birds on that trip, and we used this book tremendously to the places where to go. We went through the book, we highlighted locations, we narrowed down which ones had the most likely to get to them. One thing I can tell you, especially about the Florida one, I remember we were going into a location where we really had a couple of birds want to see, I think in Anani or whatever, and we pulled up and it was a shopping center. So that's the thing about written print, it ages and development and everything else. So that can happen too, but they're great, great resources. Now,
and I'll post the link to that one.
Now, these days, I'm going to show you this real quick. The newer books look more like this. They don't look like the old little flimsy ones and all. They're real books, kind of thing. And again, these are the ones you're more likely to be able to find today that people still have. Look in thrift stores. Bill, I know you do that in thrift stores or places that are getting rid of books. These are still great investment. Yes,
Ellie needs to be watching for them.
Yeah, Ellie, if you ever see any of these come into the thrift store there, let me know. These are they're hot commodities still for people getting into bird watching.
So I posted all those. Okay, I know somebody wants to know. It may not. Okay, hold on. Let me find it. Sorry, let me find it. We're getting a little more into fun stories. It may not be pertinent, but how did we meet?
How do we meet? Well, Melanie lived next door to one of my best friends growing up. So she was the girl next door, but not next door to me, next to my best friends. And that's how we met. I've known Melanie since she was probably 5 years old. So, yeah.
And I can remember him when I was in first grade because he was in fifth grade. That was the only time we were the same elementary school. But we grew up in a really, really small town.
Everybody knows everybody.
Yeah,
that's exactly.
And they still know everybody.
All right, we're running along here. So, the last word I wanted to get in here was how make a target list. Oh,
what happened?
I got to remove that. I got to do that. There you go. Make a target list of where you want to go. And as we say, now eBird is the way to look up birds in Southeast Arizona, in Maine, and other places like that. But if you create a target list, you look through, you see the list, you look through your books, you go, God, where do I need to go to see a harlequin duck? Pacific Northwest. Where do I need to go see a Scott's Oriole? Desert Southwest. Where do I need to go see an Atlantic puffin? Maine. Purple gallinule, South Florida. Indigo bunting, painted buntings, coastal Southeast, up into Kansas City, up in there just south of us. But these birds are targets. And so when you're traveling, if you're going to go, you're vacationing at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, where my daughter is, you can pull up that hot spot, go to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and then explore those dots around there to pull up lists and bar charts for the little parks and things around there that you can go. And like I did, with the family vacations, they like to sleep in late. I was always up before sunrise and out to a spot and bird watching for 2 or 3 hours. I'd get back to the hotel and they'd be getting up and we'd go get breakfast. It is a great way to add birds to your life list. All different parts of the country, different birds in most of them, and it's just fun. And when you're there, remember to bird in diverse habitats. If you can, do some woodland birding, you can do some ocean birding, you can do wetland birding. The top right is the Rio Grande Valley of Texas. The left is the Pawnee National Grasslands in Colorado, and the right is at Cheyenne Bottoms in central Kansas. Pictures, and don't forget your binoculars. Invest in good optics. I always say spend up to the level of your interest for sure.
Okay,
So
this is cute. So people are saying thank you, but click on this one right here.
All right, hold on.
Right there.
Got to get there.
Andrew says, we're going to go broke with all the books. You guys see all these books back here, right? They're everywhere.
Oh, they can't see the shelf. There's so much many more.
And I'm going to take pictures of those and I'm going to post them and eventually try to get all these books on there. But
you can tell I'm a big fan of books, Andrew. Reading is knowledge, and it's how people ask me how I learned so many birds. Folks, the first thing the way I started, we had to learn some birds, and I got my first real bird field guide. Is I literally read that flipped through that field guide all the time. I was learning the names. I didn't know what a vireo was when I started. I didn't know, I didn't even know what a warbler was. So I went through and I was learning, oh, that's a beautiful bird. What is it? And that it got me started on just learning the birds and knowing. And my friend Bill will tell you that the number one lesson I try to teach my bird watchers is if you're going to travel, be ready for the birds you can see where you're going, because you do the work ahead of time. Look at those birds, get them in your mind, kind of read where their habitat is. And so when you're looking there, you'll be ready when you find them. So thanks, guys. I'm sorry, we're over. We did more than normal. So absolutely. Okay, thanks, John. I hope it sparked you again to get out past the backyard. It's been one of my goals since we bought this business. I told Melanie right off the bat, it's one of my major goals. I love your sections, books, optics, everything. Please keep it up. Absolutely, Lisa. Appreciate it. And a lot of people, the post that was up yesterday, that's right. Andrew has a copy of that Winter Sparrows article that's behind my head.
Yeah.
Over there. And, all that is just, help this knowledge. You read it and you look at it.
This is a good question. Sorry if you guys need to go.
Do you record birds that you
are not sure of and only have a glimpse of?
Absolutely. I definitely do. And another thing, when you really get into it, Frontier, and I taught my people who went on all my expeditions, that I showed you there, I studied hard and tried to know what birds that we may see on the trip are potential splits or lifers later. And so when we were the first time we were out west and we were seeing wood peewees, I made everybody mark in their book, and I had it on their checklist that I gave them at the end of the trip. Wood peewee is going to be split into Western wood pea eventually, and now it is. So that was we call those armchair lifers. You saw it 10 years ago in Arizona, but when the ABA officially split it, AOU officially split it, then all of a sudden you had a lifer you can add to your book, your life list. So yeah, we definitely make those kind of notes.
Bill's got a good tip.
Bird with someone better than you. Yeah, Bill, that was on my list too. You got it. That's why I suggest nature centers and go on bird hikes. And if you get in with people that are better than you, and Bill was a perfect. He and Ruth were sponges. I mean, once they decided they were into the hobby and they were just everything. They were absorbing everything I taught. So it really does help. And then, then you're more confident. Like I said, there's so many of my bird watchers I've been birding here with for 30 years that they'll say things like, and we'll see a bird and they'll say, you know what? That's the first species of bird I ever identified without Mark. So that makes me so proud, that people think that way. So Jen, you're welcome. Thanks so much. Oh, Jan, we appreciate you joining in. I'm glad you did, Paige. And again, the bird watching ones tend not to be as popular. I'm glad to see they're growing in popularity because I really want to do more of them. All right. I think we've done it. All right.
And we missed your comment or question.
So sorry if we missed your comment.
Post it after.
Yep. All right. Until next time, folks, let's talk birds.